The second scripture is 3 John chapter 1, verse 2. It says, "Dearly beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospers." That you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So we are talking about all the aspects of your life. If you must thrive and prosper as an African woman, then you are looking at growing all aspects of your life. So that brings me to the question when I asked, is it possible to prosper in one area of your life and not in the other? Yes, but it can take you only so far. Is it possible to prosper in your body and not in your soul and in your spirit? Absolutely. You can have the best banging body by eating the best meal and, observing the principles that, govern, your internal and external. I mean, like, your metabolism and how it works, and taking care of your skin, and, just doing all the things that make you look chiseled, going to the gym, eating the right vegetables and all of that. You can do all of that, and still your spirit man is not thriving, neither is your soul. So you would grow into this amazing woman at 50 years old with the soul of an 18-year-old. Because the body is wicked. The body will keep growing with or without your permission. And the soul will just be there. So will the spirit. So it's very possible. In the same way, your spirit and you are Jim. I'm born again. You sleep, wake up in church, and all you're doing is praying and having, a prayer life, such that you'll be having encounters. There are people that have encounters. All they have is encounters every day. They saw an angel appear. They saw demons, demonic activity. They have encounters. They're not lying. It's their reality. But it's what they pay attention to. Because what you focus on expands. There's a principle. What you focus on expands. So if you focus on one side, one aspect of your development, then you will grow in that aspect. But is that sufficient to make you thrive in such a way that you would live a prosperous and an abundant and a fulfilled life? No. In the same way, your soul, being the seat of your intellect, your emotions, and your will, can grow. So that was the topic yesterday, growing your professional development and ignoring the other aspects of your life. And I was asking them, how many people are familiar with this thing? My father used to be rich. We used to have money. In fact, put it in the comment. We used to have money, or they used to have money. I know these people who used to have money. How many people are conversant with that sort of discourse? And the question is, why? Why the used to? What happened along the line? Because you see a lot of people who pay attention to just their career, go to work, make ends meet, pay the school fees, pay the rent, pay just bills, and all they're doing is just chasing. The only trainings that they take is the trainings that have to do with their education and their career, and they just keep growing. Some people get fired along the line, and because they did not have enough wherewithal, they got lost along the way. That's all that they were focusing on, that job, the growth of that job, that career. And they did not have enough wherewithal. No personal development or transformation. No other information. That's all that they knew. That life. And so they get retrenched, and that's it. They're out of the entire system. And they go back to the bottom of the food chain. And then we see those who make it, they take all the courses, go to the best schools, and they climb, and get to the pinnacle of their career. And they get there and get stuck. Yeah. They get there and they get stuck. They're like, okay, we've hit it. What next? And then they get retired. And there's a staggering statistic now that I think about 40%, if I'm correct, of retirees enter into depression after retirement. Why? Because that's all that they knew. That was what they focused on. That's it. So it can take you just so far. So in order to thrive, there has to be a congruence, harmony. There has to be a balance of this human beings, a tripartite. That's what it means to be spirit, soul, body. That you've got to prosper in your spirit and be in health in your body, and then prosper in your soul. So the problem or the gap between you and the life of your dreams is a learning gap, is a knowledge gap, is information. Could it be that you are where you are right now because of who you are? So the thing is information, is knowledge. So let's talk about this knowledge. How do we know these principles? What principles do we know that will help us to begin to grow into the life that we dream of, that will cause us to thrive, that will cause us to prosper? And like I said, we'll be using these terms very interchangeably because, when I checked up the meaning, thrive, prosper popped up. It popped right up. So human beings are spiritual and body. So the first place to get knowledge is spiritual knowledge, revelation, spiritual knowledge. And I'm sure when we say spiritual knowledge, people are like, okay, I've got that covered. Maybe not quite. Maybe not quite. And I'm not talking about being born again. Nah, that's not what it means. I'm saying that you are having a connection to your source with the aim of getting answers about your life. So this connection is to give you an insight on who you are. So it's two things. It's self-awareness and it's purpose. And this has nothing to do with you being born again. Maybe very little or nothing. Because there are a lot of born again folks in the world, Christian folks that are lost in the world. Completely lost. Serious identity crisis. Just lost away in the world. So I'm speaking of questions that you should be asking, deep questions and conversations, such as, who am I? Things that border around your self-awareness. Who really am I? What is my configuration? What am I made up of? What am I made up of? That in Genesis, when God said, come now, when he spoke to himself and said, come now, let us make man in our own image. Let's make man to be like us, after our likeness. Let us create him with our potential. Then you begin to ask yourself, God's potential to be like God? Really? It hit me a few days ago. And when things like this hit me, I just start crying. I'm like, we're living suboptimally. We're functioning suboptimally. Yeah, we are. We are actually living like servants. So you're having this conversation about, who really am I? When I wake up every day and show up in the world, what am I showing up as? Who am I showing up as? Why am I here? What really is my purpose? What really is the reason for my existence? What is my value in the world? What is my unique selling point? What is my advantage? Why am I here? Because the truth is, you're here because the earth needs you. The earth needed someone to fulfill a specific function, and then it called you forth. The earth needs you. So why am I here? Do you see? So it's asking that sort of question that will raise your self-awareness, to raise your self-awareness game and make you discover your purpose. So that's spiritual knowledge. Give you a vision for your life. And when you take that vision, you bring it into the soulish realm. So you've got to have knowledge in your soul. You've got to begin to prosper in your soul, right? How do you prosper in your soul? Your soul is the seat of your intellect, your emotions, and your will. So your intellect on the left, your emotions on the right, and then your will right in the center, holding it together. Your intellect is intelligence, right? Your intellect is your intelligence, is logic. I checked the word. The root word is intelligere, right? It's in English, intelligere. Intelligere, right? Is your ability to think. Your ability to think objectively, to deduce objectively, to understand concepts objectively, right? That's your intellect. That's your soul, what your soul desires. So the problem with that intellect and that objectivism has been blurred by life, by trauma, by family, by school, by boyfriend, by husband, by just hit by life. HIT, HBT. That's the problem with most of our intellect. So our worldviews are skewed. Our worldviews are not serving us. So we must build intellectual capacity. Our perception has to change. Our perception has to serve us. So how do we change or upgrade our perception? How do we change or upgrade our mindset? How do we change and upgrade, our interpretations, our definitions of life? Is information gathering. That we begin to seek information from left, right, and center. Now, you can learn in two ways. There's educational learning, right? And there's experiential learning. Educational learning is when you begin to learn. You create a school system around your life. Whether you are going to school to learn, it doesn't matter. Or informal education, or alternative education, as we like to call it today, where you begin to engage with books, you begin to engage with podcasts, you begin to engage in videos along the lines of your deficiency, so to speak, in the areas where you need it the most. So, for example, remember, what you focus on expands. If you focus on marriage, you want to have an amazing marriage. In order to do that, you begin to gather information. You begin to learn, attend seminars, read books about marriage, take courses on marriage, find a coach, a marriage coach, find a marriage counselor. You immerse yourself in the subject of your desire. And when you do that, gradually you become one. You become a master in that area, and that causes you to thrive. Remember, the book of the law will not depart out of your mouth. You meditate in it day and night, and what happens? You will do everything in it, and then you will make your own way prosperous. It's the same thing. In every area of your life, if you apply this same principle, you give yourself to immersive learning, right? You will make your way prosperous in that area of learning, and you will be successful. The same thing with parenting. That's the problem. So people focus on just one aspect of their lives. People begin to go for trainings along the lines of their career. But then you have children, right? You ought to train yourself in the same manner. Get books on parenting great children. Take courses on parenting. Immerse yourself with all the educative materials that have to do with parenting. So that's educative learning, or learning by education. The other one is experiential learning. Experiential learning is simple, learning by experience. So you know someone who is such a great parent, and I'm not saying that you do one without the other. Remember, your goal is to thrive. So your goal is to throw yourself into an immersive learning experience that will cause you to meditate, to live in a meditative state. How? When? Day and night. So this is not a one-off. It's not that you go for a master class or take a course or read one book and you're fine. No. It's that you give yourself to it day and night. And that's when you will observe to do according to what is written in it. Do you know why? is because our soul carries out this activity, not our spirit man. Our soul, I was explaining, is the seat of our intellect, our emotion, and our will. Right? Our emotion speaks to our emotional capacity. It speaks to our relationships. And emotions are just feelings. They are chemical reactions, from internal or external factors. And they're just our responses, right? The body's responses. It's chemical reactions. It's hormones. It's how we respond to people and to things, right? So are you emotionally intelligent? So that's it. Is you're growing your EQ and your EI, your emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, right? Intellectual capacity is that you're growing your IQ, right? Along the lines of whatever it is along the lines of whatever field that you deem necessary. In this case, every aspect of your life, so that nothing missing, nothing broken. So that you will thrive and you will prosper. Because if we focus on one aspect, we are buildings. That's who we are. We are structures. The human being, a person, is a structure, is a building. And like every building, it needs supporting pillars. There are pillars that hold the building together. So if you're just, building without these other pillars holding it whilst you're going up, there would be a collapse. There will be a collapse. The people who focus on spiritual rather than, sometimes they delve into heretical sayings. They just become, because faith needs thinking. Faith requires thinking. Faith requires thought. The faith process requires thoughts, requires thinking. And your thoughts realm is your intellect. Do you see? So it's spirit and soul. Your body happens to be the vehicle. Right? I just lost my train of thought somewhere. I was going somewhere with your will. Good. And I was trying to say why it is not possible for you to do just one learning activity and you think that everything is okay. No, that's not how the brain works. No, the brain is matter. The brain is physical matter. Right? The brain is part of the body. It's just that it is our thinking faculties, like is where we would say houses the mind, or however science wants to put it. Really, I really don't care. But you see, the brain is matter, and the brain is lazy. Our flesh generally is lazy. The brain by itself is lazy. It needs to be quickened with information. It needs information. So how the brain works is that it captures, it records, right? And then it saves. That's it. It captures. And when it captures a lot of things during the course of the day, subconsciously or consciously. It just captures. So there's a lot of activity going on up there, right, in your thought realm. And what you pay attention to is what it will begin to record gradually. What you pay attention to is what it just begins to record and retain in such a way that it becomes automated. And this is how addictions happen. This is how habits are formed. Is that over and again, the brain is familiar with one thing. It could be anything. It could be the words that you speak. Your brain is capturing it because words matter and words are matter. Right? Words are actually physical things. Thoughts, well, not physical that the eyes can see, but scientifically, they're trying to prove it's a science saying, it's a scientific saying, these words are matter. Because of the experiment that was carried out. How many of us knows about the experiment, the rice bag experiment and the water experiment that was started by this scientist, where he put water in 2 jars and labeled it the positive and labeled it negative, and to one jar he would speak just positive words over time, and to the negative jar he would just speak terrible, profane words, and he would just speak horrible things. And over time, and this right after this live, you can go on Google and just insert, or go on YouTube, because a lot of people started trying it over the years, and I've seen a couple of videos. There are lots of them. People just try that randomly in their house. Some people use rice and then they'll label it. In fact, some went as far as labeling it positive, negative, and ignored. In fact, the ignored one did worse. Anyways, what happened was, months after, he brought out the 2 jars, and one crystallized. One formed like crystals and snowflakes, and just looked like really pretty objects. And then the other one that was negative, and he kept saying horrible words, had just this very ugly mold looking, blackish, greenish, just terrible looking, thing. And it was same water I put in 2 jars that were very similar. So and a lot over the years, people have done the same experiment, even from just the corners of their rooms, and they have seen how it works. So they came up with it that words matter. Your brain is lazy all by itself, and it's what you put in your brain that it begins to capture. And when it captures it, it records it, and it takes a while for it to remember. Neuroscience that when you take it in, it becomes a thought, and that thought forms a neural pathway in your brain. And the more you think on that thought, the more you settle on it, that pathway becomes strengthened and becomes literally a physical neural pathway in the brain. Right? That's it. So in the same way, you want to be a master at something, you've got to give it time, you've got to give it attention, you've got to give it learning. That level of learning is what causes the depth of knowledge that is required to cause you to thrive and to prosper in that area of life. So we're talking about intellect, emotion, and will. And that's where your will comes in, is willpower. Simple willpower. Your ability to say to yourself that this is what I want, and you will yourself into learning, growing your intellectual capacity and your emotional capacity. And it's very important that you grow the two, because your intellect will take you to places where your emotions need to sustain you. Some of us are just emotionally unintelligent. So it's learning about your emotions, learning and growing in the area of your emotions, and growing in the area of your intellect. By your intellect, we're talking about your competence, your skill, your capacity, your thoughts, the quality of your thoughts, how you think, how you reason. We're talking of logical reasoning, your ability to bring in objectivity, to be open and to be curious, because curiosity is prerequisite to growth. You must be curious. You must try to come to the table every single time as if you don't know, so that learning can take place. Because if you are the most intelligent person in the room, there's a problem. There's a problem. Learning will hardly take place. Do you see? So that is spirit, that is soul. Then you begin to work on your body. Why? Because your body is actually the house, is what houses, all of these things. Your body is the suit, right? Is what causes you to fulfill your purpose, what enables you to, right? Your body is what enables you to. So you've got to be able to take care of your body. You want to live a long and a healthy life. So you begin to pay attention to all aspects that of your body. We're talking about your skin, we're talking about your diet, right? All the components that make your physical structure what it is. And after you have learned this, you know what the Bible says? That it will not depart out of your mouth. When you have learned, you speak. The problem with a lot of us is that we speak what we don't know. The greatest power of words is used when it is aligned with the word. When it is aligned with the depth of information or understanding. When it is aligned with a belief. That's when the power of words are activated. The book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you would meditate in it. And that meditation is an internalization process, day and night, so that you will know it, so that you observe to do it. And that's when you can confess. That's when you begin to speak, and everything you speak comes into being. That's when you say, as I believe, so I speak. That's it. As we believe, so we speak. So we speak. Your words become powerful. Your words become life. Your words become matter. Right? That's it. So that's the process. So where were we coming from? That you can prosper as an African woman or as an African man with all the odds stacked against you. You can prosper because the principles are not geographic. They're not bound by geography. They're not bound by space. So wherever you are in the world, if you apply these same principles, you will thrive. You will prosper. It's not bound by gender. It's not bound by geography. So if this book of the law does not depart out of your mouth, if you meditate in it day and night, that's it. You will do what is written in it, and then you make your own way prosperous, and then you would have good success. So that's it. So you begin to engage with your words as you learn, as you understand, as you build this depth, this wealth of knowledge. Then you begin to engage with your words, begin to create the life of your dreams. That's it. Your emotions also has to do with networking, and I'm trying to cover everything that I think that I have on networking. And you know how they say that your network is your net worth. It's not a lie, but it begins with self-worth. Self-worth is knowing who you are, and that's why that connection, that revelational knowledge that we spoke of, is very, very important. So because you attract who you are, not who you want. You attract what you are, not what you want. You attract who you are. So the work begins with you. It must begin with you. You've got to do this work where you grow yourself exponentially, where you grow yourself tremendously, where you seek to develop. Your personal transformation is very, very, very key. It's the activities that govern building your human capital, facilitating the realization of your dreams, your goals, your vision, your aspiration, and improving the quality of your life. That's personal development. And you're not waiting on luck. You're not waiting on luck, because that's a big mistake. When people say, oh, that luck happens. And I say, yes, luck does happen, right? But even the people that luck happens to, they need a certain depth of knowledge to sustain the dividend of that luck. So you either sit down and wait for luck that happens to just a few percent that still need knowledge to sustain the outcome of their luck, or you begin to engage with that knowledge that can still give you the results that you want. So your self-worth is what attracts your network. Your self-worth. Because your self-worth is indeed what attracts your network. You'll attract who you are, not just who you want. You'll attract who you are, not just who you want. Right? So remember the question, could it be that things are the way they are with you because you are the way you are? Because of who you are right now. Right? And that if there is something that you can do to change your outcome, to just change, if there is one thing that you can change, what is that thing? What are the steps after this conversation? Your learning must metabolize. You must learn to convert this knowledge, these words that I've spoken, must learn to be converted so that it can produce the result. Okay, so thank you guys for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And we have an announcement. Our School of Clarity and Emotional Wellness is opening up very soon. It is going to be loaded. If you have taken the course again, you might want to take it again. I'm going to be sitting with the participants every single week. It is going to be it's going to be value like we have never served before. So I advise you to please, the courses we'll be teaching are on your seasons, how to discern a new season, how to navigate a new season. You know, we're teaching on how to gain clarity to live a wholesome life, teaching on overcoming depression, on trauma, on, you know, resilience. It's a packed course. This is not the year to waste time. Don't spend your time loosely or carelessly. Don't. You've got to be doing something very productive that has to do with your personal transformation every single day. Remember Joshua 1:8, it says day and night. Every single day. So if you don't do day and night, you don't do day or night, you are behind. So please, you can learn your way yourself to the life of your dreams. You can learn your way up. You can learn your way and learn yourself to the life of your dreams. Okay, let's do it together this year. Let's do it together this year. I know you were expecting me to come and hand you 10 tips to become financially independent. Let me tell you, all those things, they are there online. You can get it. You know, how to use the internet to make money is there. I can recommend, and I will be recommending a lot to you this year. I will be recommending a lot, but this is the foundation. Remember, if you grow in one aspect and you don't grow in the other aspect, it's a problem. It's a problem. You will come back here and you don't want to repeat the school of life. Right? I love you so much. Thank you for joining. Please look out for our course. We're opening very soon. Join the wait list. The wait list is open. The team will put it right on our stories on IG. If you're in the membership community or already in the waiting list, I am happy for you and I congratulate you. I can't wait to meet you one-on-one, see you in class and have great conversations with you. If you are just joining, we will save the video to on the feed. I encourage you to watch it. Thank you so much. Any questions at all? Any questions in the next 1 minute, 2 minutes? What's the time now? Yeah, I think we still have time for questions. What's the time? 7:30. Yay, 7:30. Yes, that was fast. Okay. Give the easiest hack to time management. Do we have time mastery as part of the course? Okay, we have a course module called time mastery. So we don't call it time management, we call time mastery. And it comes from a setting. It comes from a level of knowing. So life rewards you according to your definition. Life rewards us according to our definitions. Life rewards us according to our perception. Life rewards us according to the depth of our intellect, the depth of our knowledge. When I say the depth of our intellect, I mean how objectively you are able to see life. How do you balance your time to accommodate growth in all areas of your life? So yes, it's the same question and it's a brilliant question. Thank you for asking. So like I was saying, life will reward you according to your perception, your interpretation, and your understanding, right? Your perception, your interpretation, your understanding, and all this is embedded in your worldview, how you see life and how you interpret. So there's 24 hours in the day for every single person. 24 hours. 24 hours. The sun rises, the sun sets. Great. We were created with spirit, soul, and body. And it is the expectation of man to nourish his spirit, soul, and body every single day. Do you think for 1 second that whoever your creator was that put that sort of mechanism in place did not know what he was doing? If that is not a possibility, right? First, and what I'm trying to do is to mess with your brain right now, to debunk, just to shatter something, right? And if you'd open your heart to it. Do you think for 1 second that, first off, the system that put that in place, who's God, by the way, did not know what he was doing, or he decided to punish us with the task of nurturing these aspects of our lives every single day? His command, even with that, was to go on to be fruitful. And we shouldn't stop there. We should multiply. We shouldn't stop there. We should fill the earth. We shouldn't stop there. We should subdue, have dominion. There is work involved, right? So it's a mindset that every single aspect of my life that I encounter, I have the capacity to flourish in all these areas. It begins with your mind. The minute I say, oh, it's too much, overwhelm sets in. So first is the knowledge. It's not a self-talk, positive talk, fake it till you make it affirmation. No. It is a deep knowledge on the inside of my being, a deep knowledge that must settle in your mind and in your heart, in your consciousness, that if God put this in place and demands this, it means that it is doable. So doable. That's why when people get into the conversation of work-life balance, work-life, I never get into it. You have to be in my inner core circle, because the world and the society will pitch to you something that would make you to function suboptimally. Science has it that one of the greatest humans to use much of his brain, if I would put it that way, is Albert Einstein, and he used 4% or something, I think 3 or 4% of his brain. So if you were here when we started, God said, come now, let us make man in our own image. Let us make man to be like us. And who God is God is omnipresent. So God made us to be like him, after our own likeness, that's similar to our potentials, our creative ability, our love quotient, right? Let us make him to function like us. And God said to us, go and create. That's the fruitful. Go and create, be fruitful, multiply, and give us, go and do it. You can do it. Right? So it means that man was created to function at a certain standard. Right? But we are not. But then the mechanism for us to function at that standard, that mechanism is inside us. We just need that oil to calibrate that mechanism. We just need that oil. And that oil is, number one, learning. Qualitative learning that will cause a mind shift. I was explaining educational learning and experiential learning. Experiential learning does a world of good. So experiential learning is that you subject yourself to an experience. That's one of the quickest ways to shift your worldview. An experience. You just plunge. That's why mentorship is very good. If you find a great mentor, because what mentoring is that the person opens you up to a certain level of vulnerability, right? And so you can see, you're able to ask questions, you're able to learn from this person's mistakes, you can see what is working, you can see what is not working. If you plug yourself to a teacher, a coach, or a mentor that is doing something, listen, frustration and stress happens in the life of every man when we don't have the depth of information or the depth of knowledge that is required for us to succeed in that area of our life. The problem is not with the situation. The problem is with our information. The problem is with knowledge. It's a learning gap. So that's why there's frustration. People have done it. People are doing it. People are doing more and more. There's something that they know that you do not know. So God is omnipresent. We are supposed to function at a polypresent level. polypresence. Achieve polypresence. Polypresence is your ability to multitask and duplicate yourself in different areas. It's your ability to set up systems intelligence that can work for you. It's the ability to know what to drop per time and what to pick up per time. Is an intelligence, is information that is lacking. So you know what to drop, you know what to pick up, you know what to put down, you know what to do when you're doing this. Let me give you very practical. Please, I cannot just waste my time in the kitchen cooking for 2, 3, 4. I'll be frustrated. Everybody around me will hear it that day. I cannot be in the kitchen doing what? Cooking for 2 hours? Am I being paid to do that? There are people whose assignment, their name, their job designation is cook. Their job designation is chef. Why will I spend my time going to the market? Hours. Shopping. Coming back. I start cooking. You have wasted the entire day? No. So I've got to build a system around that cooking. First, that will help me put the least amount of effort in the least time and get the most out of it. It comes, number one, with learning, practice, experience. Experience that leads to practice. It's not a table, it's for your life. There's no table there, nobody is arguing it with anybody. You can't do it. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your life. I can't do it. Right? It's a certain level of, it's mentoring. Enter my mentorship class and pay for it. And when you pay, you will be better for it. That's it. Because I'll teach you very hands-on, very practically how to achieve these things. Then finally, when you catch me in that kitchen cooking, I'm cooking 4 things, 3 things at the same time. The day I'm making stew, I'm making soup, I'm making this, I'm making that, I'm making that. But before then, well, see, fish has been washed down. There are some things that are already done. It's not the day that I want to cook soup that I start boiling meat. And there's some things, I've put the meat in the freezer, there's meat stock there. It's planning, it's a level of intelligence, and it comes from information, it comes from a mindset, it comes from experience, exposure. Expose your mind. Listen, your personal development is one of the greatest gifts that you can give to yourself and to those that you love. Your personal development is one of the greatest gifts that you give to yourself and to those around you. If you don't grow, you do your world a disservice. If your growth is lopsided, you do yourself a disservice, you do your loved ones disservice, and you do your maker disservice. I hope that serves you just a little bit. You know, your learning, your growth and development is not a one-day thing. It's not a 2-day thing. It's not a masterclass session 2 weeks. What those things can do is those things, they set in motion. They set in motion your self-development. It must not depart out of your mouth. You must meditate in it day and night. It's a lifelong thing. You do it. You get addicted to it. Some of you are addicted to the wrong things. Drop that addiction and pick up a new addiction. I'm addicted to personal development. I'm addicted to growth. So you can't catch me. Someone sent me a message. It was a very beautiful message yesterday. He said, every single time I see you is a different version of you, a better one from the last. I'm so proud of you and I love you. Sent me that message yesterday. I'm like, wow, amazing. But that's the truth. Every single time you see me is a better version than the last. And that's because I love me, I love you, I love God, and I want to be better for myself, for my world, and for my maker. Your personal development is one of the greatest gifts you will give to yourself, you give to those around you, those that you love, and even to the world. Okay? Let's call it a night here. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. I'm very grateful. Thank you for honoring my invitation. I'll be doing more of this year. I can assure you that. I've been away for too long, but I've been away to build capacity, and we'll be talking about that sometime this year. So that's it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can talk from now to tomorrow. It's part of my gifts. I love you. I'll see you. I think we have another one next week. Precious? Next week or in 2 weeks? 2 weeks, 2 weeks. We have another live in 2 weeks. I'm here for you. 2024. Me, I'm here for you. We're growing together. I love you. Bye-bye.